Good afternoon and welcome to Pulse Siasa. This is a show where we discuss matters leadership and politics, and we like to keep to issues that are of concern to the youth of Kenya. My name is Miriam Wende. I'll be your host today. I'm the editor-in-chief here at Pulse Kenya. And today I'm joined by two gentlemen. I'm joined by Collins Onyango, who is a strategist here at Pulse, and he also holds a degree in political science. And I'm also joined by Nahashon Kimemia. Everyone on Twitter, you might know him. He's very... He also focuses in a lot of work in the environment circles, and he is an economist. Gentlemen, say hi to our viewers.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us. This afternoon we'll be discussing Siasa Mbaya, and with my panel we'll be getting into the nitty-gritties of this subject, especially in an election year. So get to the comment sections. We'll be looking at your comments. Respond to us and tell us what you think Siasa Mbaya is. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for making the time, and we'll get into the discussion. What does politics entail? What is politics in the context that we are discussing today? We can start with Collins.
Okay, thank you very much, Miriam. Well, politics, in my opinion, politics is just resources. It's who gets what, when and how. And by that simple definition, then we decide how do we get that resources? Who do we does represent us in getting these resources? How do we distribute these resources, and who is getting what at what time? And is it enough for everybody? So that is my basic and simple definition of politics.
So it has to do with resources. Yes, Nashon, what would you define politics to be?
Actually, funny thing, I agree with Collins. I think that's a very, very good definition, because at the end of the day, it's about how we survive and how we live. And we cannot do that unless we have resources at our disposal. Now, with an finite amount of resources in the country, then we have to see how we can divide this amongst the population that's there. And that's the difficulty in Kenya, because we don't seem to do that well.
Ah, nice. Maybe we could add into our definition of politics that it also has to do with power, because you've mentioned there are people who decide which resources go where and to what amount. So politics, we've also seen it being a discussion of power. And what role does politics play in society, in an organized society such as Kenya? What role does politics play other than resource allocation? Are there other things that politics does, Collins?
Well, stemming from our definition also again, it's the role of politics basically is just distribution of resources. So everything we do in that case then all lead to that one particular thing of how these resources are being distributed. So in terms of who is getting power, that's why we get a lot of issues of people saying kunataka mtu wetu in a particular seat, because they know if this person gets there, then they are almost guaranteed, or rather they have the idea that they're guaranteed of these kind of resources are going to come our way in terms of development, getting roads. Since it's our person there, then we should benefit. So politics, basically, its role in society is just organizing society in terms of the kind of agreements we're getting into, the kind of people we choose to lead us, and everything else follows under distributing those resources that we have.
Ah, nice. Nashon?
I have the same opinion, that the underpinning philosophy behind politics in an organized society is how we are going to distribute resources across the population, the citizenry. But then I'd also add something else, right? Politics also determines how we think, and basically, let me just stick with how we think. For example, when you look at the education sector, what can we teach? Right? Can we teach our true history as a nation? Or do we just teach the history that's allowed by the powers that be? That comes to a point of where power plays a major role in that sector. When it comes to healthcare, there are certain types of healthcare that we cannot get in this country, right? Let me go back to reproductive rights just a bit, right? We also know, according to the Constitution, abortion is illegal, right? But at the same time, we have people who are saying that it's necessary for healthcare, right? Of course, personally, I'm against it, right? But it's an example of things that we cannot get because of politics. Because if I voice my opinion, somebody else voices, we determine what healthcare we will get. So it's like politics is a matter of, to some extent, life and death.
Ah, for the citizens, and it's conducted by a few people at the top. Would you agree with such a statement that politics in our country right now is conducted more by the leaders in power and not all of us collectively as a polity? Would you agree with such a statement, Collins?
Not quite, because in politics, even lack of participation is participation. So you not voting is actually voting. You not voting for the right person is actually voting for the wrong person. Or you not voting for the wrong person is actually voting for the right person.
Okay.
So you are participating, you are all active in all this, because politics will affect each and every step of our lives. It affects the unga on your table, it affects the vehicles you go through, unapanda ukienda town, because like you can see the BRT issues coming up. It's all in politics, because now if they agree on top, then it affects you, who decides, okay, BRT is safer for me or BRT is cheaper for me. But all these are determined around now the politics that these guys do. So we only choose a few representatives to sit at the top, but we are participants. We are active participants, whether we choose to be or we not. We don't choose to be there.
All right. Nashan, would you agree with that we are all participating even when we choose not to?
Okay, so how do I put this? That I love what he's saying, like what Colin is saying, such that if you don't participate in politics, then at the end of the day, politics will take an interest in you. I think it's a Roman philosopher who said that. I can't remember his name, perhaps Plato. Now, here's another thing, right? There is a way where you can alienate people from participating in the policy making, right? And I think this is some of the things that we'll delve into through Siasa Mbaya, where your specific objective is to ensure that certain people do not get a say in the governance of the country, and that you only determine that. And it's only a few people, right, that determine, so that you can perpetuate your agenda and keep the country under your thumb. Like so that's my opinion, such that the citizenry they can be alienated from the political process. And that, I think, is the problem that we're facing in Kenya.
All right, so it's a mix of both. We are involved and sometimes we are left out as the polity, as the people in this democracy called Kenya. Thank you, viewers. I'll continue to encourage you to place your comment in the comment section. What do you think Siasa Mbaya is in Kenya? And do you think that it affects all of us? Do you have anything to say about what the commentators have already talked about? Drop a comment and we'll be reading it through the course of the show. We'll move on to now the crux, the meat of our discussion today. How would you define Siasa Mbaya in the Kenyan context, Collins?
So I've been thinking about this whole topic of Siasa Mbaya, and I asked a few of people I know, and I got two answers which were quite interesting for me, and those are the two definitions of Siasa Mbaya I'd like to run with. And one of my friends said, Siasa Mbaya nile inafanya unakosa unga kwa meza. You know, where now you find the kind of policies that's happening, the kind of policies that are being put forward are hurting the common mwananchi, you know. You don't have money in your pockets, or it's taking too much in terms of taxes and that kind of stuff. Or politicians are just in quarrels. That means that they pull everybody in their quarrels, so business is not happening. So that is one definition of Siasa Mbaya. You know, just politicians not doing what they're supposed to do. The other person said quite something interesting, which alluded to bad mannerism. Because her answer was Siasa Mbaya ni, you know, ile politicians kwenda kwa funerals too, and politicking funerals and that kind of stuff, which just points to bad mannerism that our politics has accrued over the years, and our politicians will have, you know, are socialized into. So you want to play politics in places that we shouldn't be playing politics. You want to use funerals, churches, you want to smear each other with propaganda and lies, you know, just to get a seat. So for me, those are the two definitions of Siasa Mbaya I'd go with. Just the bad mannerism, and not, you know, just playing the safe politics where we can sell our policies and those can propel us to particular political seats. And the other one, like I've said, it's where politicians don't do what they're supposed to do, and it affects now the people they're representing.
Nice. Nashan, what do you think about it?
Okay, again, to agree with Collins to start with, I actually I agree completely with what he said. And I'd use a quote by, I think, the former president, President Moi. He said, Siasa Mbaya, maisha mbaya, right? So there's that cause and effect. If you do something bad, okay, one good turn leads to another, a bad turn, you know?
Yeah.
So I agree that one of the ways of determining whether politics is bad is through the effects that it has. It's very, very important. Okay. Another way of, like, I can begin by saying, what is good politics, right?
Okay.
Right? In my opinion, like we've said, politics is about who gets what, when, and where, right? So there's a discussion on that, right? And then after that discussion, now we distribute power to ensure that people get the fulfillment of that discussion. Now, when the discussion should be open, right? It should be constructive. It should be filled with facts, you know, general opinions, and then it comes to a conclusion, right? When you remove those elements, right, then it becomes negative politics, and the effects of that will come into play. So that's my opinion, and I believe that, like Siasa Mbaya, it has certain ingredients to it. Okay. Right?
This is how we get to Siasa Mbaya in the country. All right, thank you so much for those comments. Going to our Facebook page, I can see there's one comment that has been posted, and this viewer asks, how is the political mood now ahead of the general elections? And we will expound on that question and ask, have you witnessed the type of Siasa Mbaya you're saying during this election season?
Well, yes, there has been various forms of Siasa Mbaya. One in terms of, like I said, one of the aspects of Siasa Mbaya, which is something Nation had alluded to earlier, but they didn't want to respond on it because we were coming to it. Yeah. But it's about locking people out of the policy process. Now, when it comes to policy process, there are interest groups that come into play. Yeah. So we find the youth who are an interest group, we find women who are an interest group, and that kind of stuff. So all these people want to be, for there to be democracy and everything to work okay, all these people need to be brought on the table. So that their views can be taken in, and then the policy we come out with at the end of the day is something that is beneficial to everybody within this democracy. So when we start eliminating these people or creating an environment where some of these interest groups, especially the vulnerable ones, cannot come to the table and participate, then we start experiencing Siasa Mbaya. I think so far we've already seen complaints from some women who are saying, you know what, the space is not all that good, it's filled with men, they are rough and that kind of stuff. So it's already a form of Siasa Mbaya happening in our space. We've had youth complaining and say, we're not being given the opportunity we want. You know, we're not being put forward. We're asking for these opportunities. We're not being allowed to vie and that kind of stuff. So already we are seeing so many forms of Siasa Mbaya. We are seeing a lot of, you know, mudslinging here and there, people hurling words, pitting one community against the other or a certain group against the other. You know, all that is a form of Siasa Mbaya. And in our politics here in Kenya, it takes so many shapes, so many forms, and all these are affecting us in a way.
Nice. Collins has focused a lot on the leaders and how the leaders conduct Siasa Mbaya. Nation, could you maybe tell us more about these groups that have been invited to the table to participate and to actually give their views? Is there also Siasa Mbaya on the part of the rest of us, aside from the leaders?
I would agree there's a lot of Siasa Mbaya. Okay, let me start with the women's groups, youth groups, and those particular groups. The problem that we have with these groups is that when they get to the negotiating table, when they are supposed to propose policies that are to help their groups, they don't do that, right? So that discussion is never had. Instead, what they focus on is the accumulation of now their own personal resources. Like how much will they be given when this vote is coming through, how many women will attend this rally, how many people will sing when somebody is passing by. So eventually, the entire discussion on the youth, the entire discussion on women, the entire discussion on the disabled, it gets lost, and it's lost completely. And that is part of what the citizenry, they do, but at the same time, I would not blame them, right? Because like we alluded earlier, there is power, and this power now, it's given to people to to do that distribution of resources. And these people with power, in my opinion, right, one of the ways of controlling the masses is by ensuring that they're poor and ensuring that they do not have anything. So when you tell them something, it is just they're ready to go.
Yeah.
So that is my opinion, and that is what they do. They keep the masses poor, they keep the masses hungry. So by the time the masses are being called to the negotiating table, they're only thinking about eating, at least, or getting away from poverty and running as fast as possible. So I think that's the, again, I go back to the leaders who are, I think, the main problem in this country.
Ooh, Collins, what do you think about that? Have we suppressed the citizenry? Okay, have politicians suppressed?
One thing I like to need, or I don't want to differ with Nation completely.
Yeah.
I think we have evolved over time, and it's something we cannot overlook as a country. If you talk to majority of people randomly on the street, this conversation has evolved from ule ni mtu wetu wako huko juu to we want this local person here, the MCA, because we can question him.
Yeah.
So there's more of awakening among Kenyans in terms of even seeking more accountability from politicians. They're more concerned with the local politics than with the national politics. So the local man down in Tarakanidi is more focused on who is my MCA, because this guy is responsible for that drainage that I need fixed down there.
Yeah.
This person is responsible for the lighting I need in the market. So they're more focused on that than they're more focused on the national politics. So it's not really that citizens, yes, they've had a part to play also, because for a lot of the longest time we've always chosen the wrong people and expecting different things, or we keep electing the same people and expecting something different to happen. But also we have evolved as a country. People are becoming more aware, people are more focused on what really matters.
All right. I'd like to use a scenario of Nation, you needed to.
I just had a question. Not a question, but just the more things change, right, the more they remain the same. I think that's it's a French mantra or something. Now, under Kibaki, right, in 2013, when he was leaving office, 38.9% of Kenyans were below poverty, right? Right now, I think it's at the end of 2018, it's 53%, right? So if people were hungry under Kibaki, right, the hunger has increased.
Yeah.
So if people were more willing to accept whatever politicians say at that time, they're more willing today, right? When you look at even right now, one of the reasons why Kalonzo Musyoka is such a big deal in Azimio is because he's coming with that block vote, that entire Kamba vote, right? And one of the reasons he's playing hardball so much is that he's trying to get resources for the people that he's coming with, like the top leaders that he has, right? So in that distribution of posts, that's the problem, right? But it shows that in Kenya, people have not really evolved from the top leader to the local leader, the one who's next to them. Remember, the MCAs were taken to Sagana, they were given some cash, and then they changed their entire perspective on one document overnight, right? So the top leader determines a lot still in this country. And as people continue suffering, right, then it's very difficult from them to move away from the top leader, from that tribalism kind of politics.
Collins, do you have a response?
He is right in his own capacity.
Yeah.
But you see, the thing, what I'm saying is this, you see, the cost of bread has never gone down in this country.
Yeah, it's always
ever since you were born, it has never gone down.
Yeah.
But somehow, somebody gets to a point they cannot afford it. Other people still can afford it.
Yeah.
We cannot say that it became cheaper. It's only that this person managed to get enough resources to afford it.
Yeah.
Yes. So we are not badly off in terms of from where we started off. And if we pick up from where Kibaki left, I can say we are better off even in terms of decision making, because where Kibaki left us, we had more people, the effect of free education, free primary education is we had more people getting into high schools, more people getting into universities. So these are people who are informed. So whether they have jobs or not, the issue of employment then becomes something that the new politicians, or rather the guys who are aspiring now to take the top seat, should come in and address. It becomes a problem that the youth have now, unemployment. But in terms of being you know, aware and conscious of the kind of decision they're making. Even when they're making that decision, which is driven by, you know, maybe just, you know, hunger.
Yeah.
You know, they know what they're doing. They know we are electing this guy wrongly because they are metupatia pesa, but they are conscious of the decisions they are making. So we are not bad. That's when nasikia wengine wanasema there's this common saying that has been around, you know, kura kwa nani, kula kwa nani. You know, because Kenyans already can decipher, you know, this is somebody who's bringing money, but will not help us moving forward. But that other guy may not have money, but, you know, putting him on that seat will help us.
Okay.
So you can already see a conscious decision making among Kenyans, growing each and every day. As I'm saying, people are more focused, and you can even see the leaders who are vying for the top seat. It happened in the second election, 2017, when Uhuru was vying for the second. It is happening now that locals are demanding more and saying, you know what, we are going to give you this particular seat. We'll vote for you. But locally, don't tell us who to vote for. And even also in the last election, you saw an increment in you know, independent candidates. Because people now have that clear and confidence that I can run as an independent without a party and still win. Why? Because these guys are going to focus on the policies I'm going to do for them. Yes. And
because we've now narrowed down to policy, in the 2022 election, the pollsters are saying that there are two main candidates in this election, and they've named them as Dr. William Ruto and the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. And they are vying under Kenya Kwanza, and there's Azimio la Umoja. And when you look at this, these two factions, these campaigns, let's call them campaigns, let's not call them factions. These campaigns, for the William Ruto campaign, he's campaigning for the people Nation was mentioning, the people at the bottom, trying to empower the mamambogas, trying to empower everyone at the bottom of the economy to come up, to give them access to the resources we are talking about, to give them opportunities and all that. Then come to the Azimio la Umoja campaign. It's all about national unity. We need to come together, we need to unite, we need to leave out the tribalism and all those things. I want you to comment on, so far, those are two very different ideologies, two very different kinds of policies. Even when we elect these governments, we expect very different, the country will look very, very different under the Azimio la Umoja, and it will look very different under Kenya Kwanza. So far, can you see any instances of Siasa Mbaya in the two campaigns? You don't have to get into the details, but I'd like you to give an objective view of how are these campaigns being run. And you can even touch on the Ruben Kagame one, you can touch on all those other campaigns, the presidential campaigns that are going on. We can start with Nation.
Okay, my personal opinion is this. One of the ingredients that I would put in Siasa Mbaya is the lack of substantive details to any policy that's given, right? And when you look at Kenya Kwanza, bottom up is a very good overall ideology, right? Very, you can attach yourself to it, right? But here's the problem. When you look after the slogan, now when you go into the document and you look at the policies, there is nothing different from Azimio la Umoja. There is nothing different. Dr. William Ruto, sorry, let me just get into the details.
Yes.
DP Ruto, right? He's talking about NHIF. The former Prime Minister is talking about NHIF. DP Ruto is talking about, you know, it's time for an economic revival. The former Prime Minister, ukombozi wa tatu ni wa uchumi, right? Basically, everything they are saying, it's the same things, they're just using different words. So in Kenya, that's why I disagree a bit. After whoever wins after 2022, this country will not look different. It will actually look, it will be worse than it is today. So the question is, which evil?
Which is the lesser evil?
Which is the lesser evil? Which is now another
a whole other discussion. Collins, where do you come in?
Well, I agree with him on one thing. There's nothing different we are being told in all these manifestos. After this election, I think this country looks pretty much the same as it is right now.
Ooh, okay. Some of us have a very romanticized view.
One, I look at Dr. William Ruto's campaign and his manifesto and all that he's saying he wants to do. And I see nothing different from what he's proposing, from what Kibaki actually executed when he became. All these policies of bottom-up, the issues of CDF, what they did with Uhuru Kenyatta with the money for the run-up, you know, all those are forms of bottom-up. Making sure that you're actually taking resources down so that they can come up. You know, that is the whole idea. But it is funny that the Kenya Kwanza side have never really gotten down to explaining this thing. And for me, my question with them has always been from what go, give me the policies that you're going to put in place. Tell me legislation you're going to put in place. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to legislation. It's not about, the bottom up is a very good tagline, by the way. A very awesome tagline. you can
very easy to remember.
Yes. It's a very awesome tagline. And you know it has taken popularity all across the globe, from US and all that. So it's a very good tagline to run with. So, but let's get down to the details. If you're talking of bottom up, what really policy, what legislation are you telling us you're going to send your parliamentarians to go ahead and implement in parliament to make life easy for this mama mboga, for this, for that border guy? Let's get down to legislation, because if there's no law being passed, then there's nothing you're telling us you're going to implement. It's just story. The other side, you look at now. Oh, guys.
Baba
and his guys.
10 points agenda.
10 points agenda. And you're like, what is the different thing you're actually proposing that has not been done? Again, it goes down to the same thing. Come down and give us details and tell us, you know what, when I get this seat, I'm going to whip my members of parliament to pass this particular law so that we can implement this and that. But you see, our politicians are very, very, very crafty, because there are laws that actually they even put in between, you know, they tengeneza finance bill and make sure it's a very big document and sneak in policies in there that are going to hurt you and they don't even tell you. And then they only focus on the heading of the bill, you know, and, you know, present it to you and like, you know, this thing is a very good thing. But then 2 years down the line, you're like, we told you we are going to implement this thing and you never said anything about it. So now we have implemented it. And now when it comes to implementing, it's not even them implementing, it's KRA who's coming out to hunt your salary. You know, so our politicians have had this thing all along where they give us vague statements. They don't tell us exactly what they want to do. And if you're talking about Siasa Mbaya, this is it. Like this is it. And a good thing is, actually, it's more evident now because both sides are like even in sync. You know, let's tell this idea as it is, and then tutajua tukishamaliza. Tukiingia ofisi tutajua.
Tutajua kunaendaje. Okay, thank you so much for those comments. Viewers, I encourage you to continue posting your comments in the comment section. Engage with us. Let us know what you're thinking. We've shied away from the nitty-gritties, so let me take you there. Over the weekend, we witnessed Raila and also Ruto. They had their own major events happening. Raila, that's where he launched his 10 points, a lot. He broke down whatever it means for him to be running for president. But we also saw a lot of these side shows coming up. For example, during the UDA rally in Thika, we saw someone like former Governor William Kabogo getting so personal, addressing the president, and according to the history of the country, even the history of the tribe they belong to, when you start mentioning a mother and they gave birth to, I was also given birth to, the way you were also born, when you start getting into such issues, for me, I tend to think that's Siasa Mbaya. Why are we getting into something personal? Why would I call mtu mchawi? I think that's a bit of Siasa Mbaya. What do you think, Nashon?
I also agree with it completely, such that one of the reasons they do that, right, is because they have a complete lack of ideas. So when you can't do that, the only way to galvanize people around you is to show that that person is the enemy, and then you continue, you know, doubling down on that, which now we come into disrespect, and you're trying to endear yourself to the crowd. Right? So if the crowd is against that particular person, you're trying to outdo your competitor, right, who's also against that person, showing that, you know, I'm the one who's against him completely, right? And politicians do this a lot, and the problem is this, when you do that, then there are no ideas that are being exchanged.
Yes.
Instead of people searching for ideas on how to improve the economy or how to change the country, they're searching for the best insult that will capture media, media attention. And when they do that, the people will respond to it, and they'll respond to it with a lot of emotion. Yeah. And especially if it's a leader from another tribe, then that would entrench the idea of tribalism. Yeah. Our person is being attacked. What are you doing? When it gets personal now to the president will use state resources to deal with that person, right? And the use of state resources in itself to deal with somebody who's only being disrespectful to you, again, is a problem. Yeah. So you'd have created a precedent that you can then use when now you're dealing with a serious political opponent. It's just a circle of Siasa Mbaya.
Collins, what do you think about the name Colin?
It goes back to the mudslinging we were talking about when we were introducing Siasa Mbaya. Yes. And like he said, Nation said, I'll agree with him, it draws down to lack of policy. But it stems down to our history of patronage, the politics of patronage, you know, clientele patronage, where, you know, Uhuru Kenyatta is the patron. Yeah. Everybody in Jubilee is a client, and they all want to please Uhuru Kenyatta. Yeah. And the good thing about when we get rid of this, and even just to solidify and just explain how this becomes Siasa Mbaya, is because if you look at Central Kenya this year, or rather this time around, most of the politicians who, and I'm not talking the ones who are vying in national politics, the ones in local politics, they have quite they're not that vocal and outspoken as they've always been in other elections. Why? Because Raila has always been, you know, there to go person. If you can
Baba has said
if you can insult Raila enough, you get your seat in Central Kenya. Okay. You know, if you're the loudest enough. That had always been their policy. Yeah. But now they come down to, you have to go down there and explain to people what is this you actually want to do for them. And you can see the confusion, especially in Kirinyaga, with Girishi, Waiguru and Matakara. It has gotten down now to policy. Because now there's no person who is vying, who is a Kikuyu, to say. They don't have a patron who they want to please. So it's an issue of now telling people their patron is now the citizens who are going to vote for them. So now they're stuck in that place where they have to tell people what really they have to offer. Yes.
All right. So that's specific to Kabogo and the community he comes from.
Not just Kabogo and the community he comes from. It cuts across. It's only that for them and Central, it is now more, it has come out way clear. Yes. They don't have a patron to please.
To carry them through. All right. Thank you so much. From the comment section, Bella Mbadi says, Ako locked. Thank you for joining us, Bella. Post a comment. What do you think Siasa Mbaya is? What do you think about what the commentators have said so far? Why do we, as the citizens, because now we are the ones who hear Kabogo has said this about Uhuru, Babu has said this about Uhuru, whoever has said this about Raila, why do we see a scenario where there are people who are ready to pick up stones and hit their neighbors, like what we saw during the post-election violence? How does that come about? Because that's also an element of Siasa Mbaya. You've incited people to the point that I no longer see my neighbor as my neighbor, the person who lives across from me and who has helped me. I now see them as a political opponent, and it becomes so serious that I want to hurt you because you don't share the same political opinion with me. I think that's also Siasa Mbaya. What would you say about it, Nation?
Okay, this is what I would say. People are, again, people are hungry, right? People do not understand why they're working so hard and then they're gaining nothing from all their hard work. They don't understand where the money is going. And if you can point to an enemy among them, then that's it. That is the person taking my money. So when it comes to when he's able to do something about it, let's say when it's an election season, and he's being told that these are the people amongst us, right, who are taking our money. Yes. We can't get to their top, but we can get to them, right? Then that's when they say, for all my frustration, for all my anger, for all the things you have stolen from me, it is you who will bear the brunt, so that your leaders can feel it. Right? And I think that's one of the reasons why, primary reasons why, people are so willing to fight against each other and to kill each other even, because they don't feel that the other person is human. They feel that the other person is a problem, an enemy, a hindrance to their progress. So if you can remove that hindrance, or you can force their leader to see that what they can do and then act accordingly, then perhaps you might see that you've moved a step in life when you haven't really.
The politics of tribalism, Collins.
We can't run away from it. We can't run away from it. By nature, we are born and we are wired to know, to side with somebody who we can relate with.
Yeah.
So either we come generally, if it was today we are being pitted with Uganda, you'd find yourself supporting a Luya, a Kisi without even noticing, you know, because you have that commonality of unity that you're all Kenyans. So when now you put all Kenyans in one basket, then I start realizing, you know, you're Kuyu, you're Kamba. So we cannot run away from it. And thing is, ethnicity is good. Ethnicity is not bad. It's part of us, it's our culture. But now the misuse of ethnicity and to now mobilize politics, that's where the problem comes in. That's where the biggest problem comes in. And I agree with Nashon. One thing, we are riding on people being poor. We are riding on people being, the youth being unemployed, because then if anything I tell them runs.
They're already desperate.
I was very pissed, and I've been pissed by comments of Rigathi Gachagua the other time when he was saying, you know, he went to a meeting in Central and Temati, Raila ametengenezwa barabara ghorofa Kisumu, and I'm like, people in Kisumu are just citizens like any other person. Ukisema Raila ametengenezewa, what really are you trying to drive? You know? Because he's trying to pit his community against this one person. Yet when projects are done, we're all beneficiary as a nation. And just to conclude on this one, there's something, I'm of opinion of something that I think people are going to see it later. But I think whether it is clouded in all kind of charades and all those sort of statements that are going around, in future we are going to appreciate what Raila and Uhuru Kenyatta did with the handshake. Because what it did is that it distorted even all the politicians who are riding on, you know, throwing mudslinging on the other side and counting on the fact that if I insult Uhuru Kenyatta enough, then people back home are going to see I'm loyal to Baba and elect me, or if I insult Baba enough, then people back home are going to see I'm loyal to Uhuru Kenyatta and elect me. It really removed that and gotten some people very clueless. So many politicians very clueless, because now they have to come down to policy. You know, so I think in future, later on, we are going to appreciate what these two people have done. Also in terms of getting rid of all that kind of negative politics. Because now you see, we can see Kikuyus or the mountain in different camps, both in Ruto's camp and in. So for Kikuyu even to go against people in Baba's camp, is like, okay, my cousin is also in.
Supports Baba.
Yes, so how do you go against that particular chama?
And
you see, this is something that will have an effect moving forward. It may be slow, or you may not see it immediately, but it's going to happen.
So I have a difference of opinion on that one, right?
Yes. It sounds like Collins ako Azimio. Mrengo wa Azimio.
I may sound so, but like I've said, in as much as it's shrouded in so many things that people may say now, in a couple of years, people are going to appreciate what these two people did.
That it was actually significant.
I believe it was very significant. I think March 18th, 2018.
Yes.
Okay, so I believe that what the president and the former prime minister did destroyed this country. It set it on a very dangerous precedent, and it will take years, if not perhaps decades, to recover from, right? Because number one, when President Moi was leaving office, he said, Saitoti ni rafiki yangu, lakini hii si urafiki, and then he chose another person. And it created a lot of hula baloo, right? So I think President Kenyatta was also trying the same thing, but you see what he did, right? One, he destroyed the opposition. There was no opposition. So any corruption that was happening in government, it was just continued happening. And that's why you don't have KEMSA people in jail right now. They just continue that. When you look at, when you disrespect your deputy president, right? It's a very serious, because he's number 2 in the country. If anything goes wrong, he becomes number 2. If he becomes number 1, let's say, God forbid anything happens, and then he's in a state of being disrespected by the entire government, then what happens? Where does that respect come from? But that's another issue, a security issue. The precedent that it sets for other leaders is very dangerous. Right now, Kalonzo Musyoka is saying that when he gets into power, he'll play it like Ruto, like Deputy Ruto. He start campaigning as soon as they get into office. And what has he's learned this, because of what he saw the president and the former prime minister do. That at the end of the day, you know, things can go any other way, despite how strong your agreements can be. So you start from the beginning. I believe that even when it comes into the economy, now let's talk about the economy.
Yeah.
When you bring everybody into government, everybody who's in the opposition, who was trying to eat outside, right? He's now eating in the same government. The people who are in government, they're also eating as they were eating. The citizens are the one who are suffering. Right now, oil prices are higher. Everything is higher, from transport, everything, right? And it all stems from a certain clique. They've all gathered in government and they're all eating. There's no opposition to blow the whistle on anything.
So Nation is bringing up the point of, in a political discourse, in siasa, we need the ruling party and we need an opposition. That the role of the opposition was now silenced after the handshake. I don't know what viewers think about this, because the handshake is a very contentious issue so far, as we can see. But let's move on from it as we wait to hear from the viewers, and let's discuss the media. In this election, we've seen certain media houses being told that you're on that side. Their viewers, their audience is saying you've already aligned yourself with Azimio, you've already aligned yourself against DP Ruto. We've seen that in the media. Does the media play a role in propagating Siasa Mbaya? Collins, what do you think?
The media plays a role when the media doesn't do its job. The media is supposed to be the fourth estate, meaning the fourth arm of government.
Yeah.
By that means it's supposed to be checking all the three arms of government. So when the media does not play that particular role, then the media loses it. But with the media, it's also very sensitive because we haven't really defined the role of media in politics maybe in our country. We haven't really defined.
Okay.
In Western countries, you see the media coming out very strongly, even in terms of saying, you know what,
yes,
you are wrong.
Yeah.
In as much as they still maintain their neutrality and everything, they can still just come out and say, you know what, this particular, like we saw in the previous US elections.
Yeah.
Almost every other news, people would have said that the news or rather the media was against Trump. But simply they were coming and saying, you know, you are lying here.
Yeah.
This is not true. So in that case, even if it were to happen here locally, and a certain media house was to come and say, you know what, you are wrong, I am sure tomorrow morning you're going to see a press briefing with another media house saying, you know what, this particular media house is very wrong. They're liars. They're not truthful. They have taken a side. That being said, I think it's also, we can't run away from the reality that there are media houses who have taken sides, you know, virtue of who owns them in this country. But that stems from the very fact that we have the same players in all the field, in the economy and politics. So mostly you find, also in the Western countries, let me just make this reference. If one is going for a political seat, then they need to relinquish themselves from their businesses. So you leave it under someone else to do the business, and then you do the politics. So that these two things are two separate entities. But here, the players are the same. They're the owners of the businesses, are the owners of the media houses. They're still the ones who are active in politics. So we really cannot separate politics and this kind of people and media. So
it's not about to end soon.
It's not about to end soon.
Nasha, what do you think?
Okay, my opinion. Just to mention a bit, right? I'm a Donald Trump fan, so.
Wow, we are learning a lot today.
So I believe the media, the US media, was very biased, but that one is US media. When it comes to Kenyan media, there is a danger that the media has, right? You need licenses to operate. You need frequencies to operate, in my understanding, and those are issued by the government, the state. And if the government exercises power based on whatever they want, right, then it puts the media houses in a bit of trouble, in a quagmire. What do? If they do not toe the line, then their frequencies and their licenses, it's a problem, right? So there's that threat. Again, there is, of course, what Colin said, that the participants, many of them, they're also in the media,
politics,
right? And in politics, so that plays a huge role. I actually have no problem with a media house taking sides. As a private entity, it should do whatever it feels like doing. As long as they state it. I believe stating it openly is good. Now, like we started the discussion, politics is about who gets what, when, how, right? And it's an open discussion about these things, right? The media is an arena where people can discuss it, the citizenry can discuss it, and they can question other leaders. Because I know Parliament is one of the fora, but the media is also one of the main fora, and question the government and the leaders. And when the media does not do that, when the media now plays its part in alienating the population from the discourse, then that's when things also go wrong. And the people in power, they become more powerful. Because now, there's no, if you control Parliament, which is supposed to be the main fora for discussion, and then you control the media, which is supposed to be the other one, then where does the citizen go to? The only option right now is social media. But they are also coming for that one.
They're sponsoring hashtags.
And something just to add on what he's saying about, you know, how the media is playing about with this. Well, you see, media also has a very important role of being setting the agenda. And one bad thing, or rather the habit with our media locally in Kenya, is the agenda is set by politicians, then the media take it up. What that means is we are going to be talking about what the politicians want us to talk about. So when the politicians decide that, you know what, the next 3 months we're going to be talking about BBI, there's nothing we're going to be talking about, because the media picks the agenda also the same. But when the media set the agenda, you see, it will also set with the mind of the citizens, with the citizens in mind as well. So you'll want to put out issues that actually touch both on the citizens, because if you're watching the government, then you have to tell the government, you know, you're doing this, and this is not right for your citizens. So if the media does not set that agenda, and they let the government or the day set the agenda, or the politicians set the agenda, then we're not even having a discussion to help us at all. So that is part of how, you know, also the media is participating and changiaing Siasa Mbaya, because they're not playing their role that they're supposed to be playing.
Nice.
But just another point, right?
Yes.
For most journalists that I've met, journalists, right? Including yourself, right? You are very honest, right? You are very willing to change this country, and you are very willing to have an open forum where people can discuss issues, right? So I believe also as a citizenry, we have a role in supporting you know, objective journalism. When somebody is doing that, we need to push. And you know, when somebody is doing the wrong thing, it's not hard to know. It's not hard to know. It's very easy, because you can read the article and you can see that there is a problem here, right? So as a citizenry, we are also to call out the powers that be. Because the same way that they can come for us, let's say the citizenry, is the same way that they can come for the media. So unless the people who can be sought after unite and defend each other in some way, right? Then we should do that. Whether the citizens have a role.
See, National, what you're saying, the problem comes in here. We all see them from our own perspective. So if I'm supporting Azimio and this particular article is somehow favored to Azimio, then it's a very good article. You see where the citizen also come from, because it then becomes a very good article according to me. If it's supporting the other side, then that's a very bad article. That these journalists would have to be questioned. What is this that he wrote? You know, so we're also reading these articles and looking at journalists from our own perspectives.
Our own biases.
Just to add one thing, right? when you read an article, right? You can look at the article, the facts mentioned in that article, and even if the opinion, the conclusion at the end of it is a bit skewed, you can say, okay, that's okay, but I got some information from it, right? The objectivity of an article, it's a bit easy to determine, because you just look at the facts, the arrangement of it. Like if you analyze the scientific method, right, of writing an article, you can see that this fact leads to this one, there are those points. So if we can both agree, right, we can sit down and then we look at the facts. You can say that, no, this one does not have facts. This one has a lot of opinion. Right? And that is one of the problems that I had with the media when it came to Trump, right?
There's a lot of opinion.
There was a lot of opinion as opposed to facts. Because what I want to know is, for example, just today, why is Russia bombing the Ukraine? That's what I want to know, right? But when you're giving me articles about Ukraine, the bombing is so bad, people are suffering. Okay, by then I'm sympathetic to that. I am sympathetic to that. But I also need to understand the underpinning reasons.
Yeah.
And if I don't have underpinning reasons and we talk about it, then we can see that this perhaps is not. Yeah.
All right. What I hear from you is, defending my fellow media practitioners, is let's report more facts. And I think most of us do that, even if we still have a voice, even in politics. And I think journalists are some of the most opinionated people. So that will always come out. Maybe I'll join Collins and say, it's here to stay. Let's learn how to moderate it. But this is what we have right now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen. As we come to the end of our show, Yusuf Mustafa on Facebook is asking us, how is the process? I don't know which exact process you are referring to, Yusuf, but maybe can anyone answer that question? How is the process? Siasa Mbaya ni nini? How is the process? I also don't get, so I would subject you to answering it. Yusuf, maybe you could expound on it, then we discuss it. But as we come to the conclusion of our show this afternoon, gentlemen, I'd like to hear from you a parting shot, and maybe some of the things we can do as the people who are watching politics to tone down the Siasa Mbaya, even for us as the citizenry, to tone down the Siasa Mbaya, and two, not to propagate it. What can we do to limit instances of Siasa Mbaya in our politics? Collins.
Well, to conclude, I'll start by saying, one, I'm still of the high opinion that we are evolving, and we have evolved as a country. We are not where we were some 10, 15 years ago, or some 2 elections ago.
Yeah.
People are more, I think our problems also have played a part in, propelling us, or, just pushing the knee, accelerating the revolution that we've had as a people, also in terms of mindset, because we realize that, our problems are ours as citizens.
Yeah.
And these politicians are on the other side.
Yeah.
Thank God to Corona, we are very sympathetic with everybody who lost somebody, maybe with the COVID.
Yeah.
But what that showed us is the difference between what these people care for themselves and the citizens also care for themselves, should also take care of themselves on their own. Or rather, they are on their own, because you see, the disparity was very clear. They get sick, they're admitted at Nairobi Hospital, they're taken outside the country, and we get sick, we don't even have access to, because everything just vaccines, just the basic things. So it kind of propelled or accelerated people's mental revolution of Kenyans, and people realizing that, this is my neighbor, regardless of what tribe they're into, they are the people who are closest to me, and the people who can help me. So I can say we have come a long way. In terms of the way we are changing how we are thinking. We have also reduced the level of Siasa Mbaya that we're experiencing as from the citizenry point of view. There's still so much that we need to do, also in terms of educating, civic education, just letting the youth understand that, it's never that serious. Don't make it a matter of your life and death. The other person is not making it a matter of their life or die. So, I think we need to do a lot of civic education. We need to engage a lot. The youth in particular. We need to get these people organized. Like, let's say the boda guys. Let's say for example, those guys with the mambogas, they need to get organized, because when it comes to politics, you don't come alone. If I approach the president on my own, or Jubilee as me, Collins, I will get nothing. But if I approach the ruling government with a group of 1,000 youth, then they're going to sit and listen, like, okay, what are these people telling us? What do they want to say? What do they want from us? So it's a matter of us playing our part, organizing ourselves in trying to get what we want for ourselves in society, and also demanding a lot of accountability. From the MCA, the governor, the MP, demand a lot of accountability. Ask that MP, nini ashaifanya in parliament, what has he ever passed? The policies he has passed, especially now that they're coming to, seek new mandate. Let's ask them, what exactly did you do for us? You as the MP. What law did you pass that can help us, we as your constituents? Let's ask this question. Let's ask the MCA, what did you do while you were in office the last 5 years, the last 10 years? Let's demand a lot of accountability, and we will see these things changing.
Thank you so much, Collins. Nashon, your parting shot.
Okay. This is what be the change that you want to be in this society, right? If you don't want corruption, don't be corrupt. Stay the course, pay the price if you can, because there are some cases where you can't, but pay the price where you can, right? If you don't want corruption. If you want people to choose good leaders yourself. If you want people to have good ideas, present those good ideas, right? And so I also have a message for the politicians, right?
Yeah.
That, okay, people are having a hard time in this country, right?
Yeah.
Just to mention, right?
Yeah.
There are two people who approached me recently. They'll be losing their job soon, right? Because business is going down. People don't have money in their pockets. So eventually, when you are the president, when you are the MP of poor people, in a country where China poverty level, I read today, it was, I think, 1% or something, which is a lie, but at least
yeah.
the US is around something like 19%. So China, I think it's about 20% or something. And in Kenya, we're talking about 53%, right?
Yeah.
So things need to change. The way we have organized our society is such that everybody has to fight to get to government. And the government is a hassle for the big families and for everybody who's trying to be a big family himself. And it can't be that way. We have to change this country. The true bottom up to the hustler nation, right, is when the people their businesses are thriving from the bottom. Right? It's not when you're coming with money to give people.
Yeah.
The same thing with Azimio. People do not require free money. What they require is the ability to make money. So focus on that.
Yeah.
So I think be the change you want to be. And to our politicians, there is a time for everything under the sun. And your time is coming.
Ooh, such a nice message to conclude the show today. Thank you everyone who's joined us. We can see you on Facebook, on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being part of Pulse Siasa this morning. I invite you to join our Twitter Spaces, which will be happening tomorrow. Go onto our social media pages, our Facebook, our Instagram. You'll see the poster. We'll still be discussing Siasa Mbaya. So in case you haven't gotten a chance to put in your comment today, be sure to join us tomorrow on our Twitter Space. I've been your host, Mira Mwende, and see you next time. Bye.